And when you hear that sound, you know what's next. Today is just a super exciting day. We created this feature a while ago, this Huddler in the hot seat. We get to have amazing people. Today is an exception because we have an exceptional person. I'm so excited that Jen Gressman is going to join us. But it's Friday. This is the day when most people think the week is ending. I think the week is beginning. Good morning, Shay. How are you?
Hello.
To see
Everything is good.
Lots going on in the sports world. We saw, the big loss last night in the tennis world. So, you never can take anything for granted.
Well, I didn't get to talk about it, but there were some big names that got into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
So give us a baseball update, Shay.
They got it right. They missed one who should have been in there. So Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and now I went blank on the third one.
Who did miss?
The guy that missed it was Gary Sheffield. So those in South Florida.
He didn't get in?
So he missed it just by a little bit. Billy Wagner just missed it by, I think, 5 votes. So Sheffield, that was his last year on the ballot for the write-ins, but he has a chance to make it for as an exception later on down the road. So.
Yeah. Does that have anything to do with PEDs or?
It could. I mean, he admitted to later on in his career doing like the cream, as they called it. But, similar to Barry Bonds, he was a Hall of Famer before and Hall of Famer after. So it is what it is.
I got you. So as is our practice, every day we're going to start with a daily affirmation. This one is so appropriate for our upcoming guest. Make sure you text your friends, email your friends, because you don't want to miss what's coming up. Shay, show me today's affirmation. I will read it. Don't be afraid to go where you've never gone and do what you've never done, because both are necessary to have what you've never had and to be who you've never been. And this woman exemplifies that. Shay, wake this thing up. Let's get her walk-up music and let's get with Jen Gressman. What a perfect song. This woman has total fight in her. Welcome to Huddler in the Hot Seat, Jen Gressman, CEO of Site Impact, fellow Gator, and total fighter. Welcome.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you.
So excited to have you here. I get the pleasure to spend time with you each week, and I have learned your story, and I love your story. I love what you do and what you stand for. So first off, share with our audience, who is Jen Gressman?
So you mentioned it, fellow Gator, business school dropout.
Yeah.
I graduated with my degree in TV and film, moved to New York after school, really came up through the school of hard knocks, quite frankly, right? Steve, you and I talk about it all the time, I started in traditional advertising, TV and radio, And back in those days, living in Manhattan, making sub $30,000 a year, shoving my unpaid bills under my bed.
Which
And
is the best story of ever, by the way, man. It's like,
I
my
mean,
rent is
listen,
900 and I
my
only
rent is not, my rent is $900 a month. My paycheck is $881 a month. You do the $881 every other week. You do the math, right? I mean,
love it.
so yeah, it's but I think it was through all of that, right? There was that, never give up, never, it's the hustle, it's the grit, right? So I think through all that, I made my way back down to Florida almost 16 years ago. And I've been with, fortunate enough to have been with Site Impact for almost the last 11 years.
So I'm going to go with the obvious first because
Sure.
it's out there. There's such a lack of female CEOs.
Yeah.
I look at people as people. CEOs are either you're a good CEO or a bad CEO, but the
Yeah.
reality is there is a predetermined bias. So talk to us if you can about moving through the ranks as a woman. You said and have said often, there's a lot of times you're the only woman in the room.
Yep. So, yep, you're absolutely right. So, and it's unfortunate, right, that we never put he's a male CEO. We just say he's a CEO, but we do caveat she's a female CEO, right? So it's strange that we do that. But you're absolutely right. I did spend a good part of my career being the only female in a boardroom, being the only female in a meeting. And quite candidly, you have two choices when you're in those situations. You can, sit tight and not say anything, or you can speak out and go for it. And quite frankly, I think those are the only two options you have, and I think for those that choose to, not rock the boat and be quiet, I respect that. But I think, I wanted more. And Steve, it's kind of tough to shut me up most of the time. So there was, there was,
They call
there
it
was,
work, but I love it. I can't wait.
there was really no keeping me quiet. And I think that at the end of the day, it's, smart people who are willing to work hard, I think will be successful, male
Love
or
that.
female.
Love that. So you've grown through this company in 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
You are the CEO. It was founded by somebody else,
Okay.
but talk to us, if you can, about the specific skill sets that it takes to do what you do on a daily basis. I mean, I think there's 100 employees. You guys have created unbelievable growth, statistically, numbers that blow my mind. So what do you need to do in order to maintain that?
So I think, I think there are a couple of things. I think you need to be resilient, right? You need to come in every day, that whole like thick skin. You need to kind of let some things roll off your back. One of the things that I learned early on was that every decision I make is not going to make everyone happy, and we have to make the best decisions for the business with the information we have today. I think that, creating an environment that fosters collaboration is really important. I'm a huge proponent of collaboration. I'm a huge proponent of, just iterating on ideas and things like that, right? And driving the business forward. I have this strange way of looking at things that I always want to take things apart and then put them back together in a more efficient, more kind of process-driven way. So I think there is something that kind of, that speaks to it. I think that you have to hold people accountable. You hold yourself accountable. You have to hold your teams accountable. And I think it's every day just getting, I know you talk about it, right? Every day getting that little bit better, getting that 1% better every day. And I think if more people really kind of embrace that, I think, gosh, what could we do, right? If everyone embraced that, what could we do?
I'm glad you went there because, the making of a CEO, there's all different kinds of CEOs. I was actually a shitty CEO because I was too emotional, keeping yourself in balance, but having the skill set to make things more efficient. The results are very quick and obvious. They're like,
they are.
this is broken and I'm going to fix this.
Right.
So
They really, and And even you made the comment that, things are broken and now they're fixed. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be broken, but you go, there's a better way, right?
Wow.
Like, you know, so I'll go into a restaurant, and I think I've told you this, I'll go into a restaurant and I'll watch the waiters and waitresses walk around the restaurant, right? And I'll watch them pick up drinks from over here and straws from over here and this from over here. And in my head, I'm going, you're doing it wrong. Like, if you just went around this way, you can save yourself like 15 seconds on every trip. And on every trip, if you saved yourself 15 seconds, think about how many more tables you could actually serve. And if you serve them faster, what did you just do for your tips by just going the other way?
So the next time we have lunch or dinner, I'm going to watch you do that.
Right? But it's true, right? Because it's not like there was anything broken, but there's just a little bit of a better way, right? There's a
That's
little
a
bit of a more efficient way.
that's a really cool answer. I didn't think that because I'm a black and white guy. It's either
Yeah.
working or it's not working. But degrees of working, I think, takes a special sort of inclination, or so that's more of a engineering background. How did you get there
I
from
have absolutely,
television
I
and
have
news?
absolutely, I have absolutely no clue. Genuinely, truly, I have no clue. There is nothing that has happened in my life or any experience that I have had that should make this be an affinity for me. However, it is, right? Like, I don't, you talk about like, what is your genius, right? Your incompetence and your genius and things like that. I don't know. This falls in my genius for whatever reason. And I like to look at things and go, there's got to be a little bit of a better way,
I
right?
love
Or
that.
not better. Let me take that back. Not better, more efficient.
More efficient, right? Because better is you can't really
Better
quantify.
is right.
I love that. So you've taken this career arc, television, radio is creative, very different brain, left brain,
Yep.
right brain.
Yep.
Was there a specific incident, a specific mentor that helped you get to, like what throughout your career, what do you think prepared you to be at the helm? Because it was a successful company before you.
It was.
You have grown it exponentially, almost double or triple the, so
Depending on which KPIs we're looking at. Yep.
I mean, pretty incredible when a
Sure.
founder turns the company over and says, okay, I'm going to give it to the reins to somebody else. So you've done
Sure.
it. Was there a specific thing in your life, a specific mentor or something you can point to that was an inflection point?
So I think there are a couple. So I don't know that I necessarily had a specific mentor, but I do think that there were people that I engaged with throughout the course of my career that I almost do the opposite of what they would do. You hate to say that, right? But you came up, what would so-and-so do? And then do the opposite of that, right? When you had, I think we've all experienced that, right? You've had that poor manager, right? And people don't leave businesses, they leave managers, right? They leave the people that they're working for. So I think there were some of those things that kind of created the way I will manage or the way I look at things. I can say that, with this company, I've had one formal performance review in almost 11 years. So
one review
in 11 years. But it was at that point that I said to the then CEO of the company, I said, and I was in a VP role at the time, I said, here are the things that I'm going to do in the next 12 months. And I gave myself goals. I said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And when I do, you're going to promote me into the C-suite. I look back on that and went, wow, holy, you know what, this is what I'm telling you what you're going to do with your business, right? And how you're going to promote me. But I think there was that tenacity that just said, you know what, again, it's going back to, if you don't say it, there's no opportunity for it. I'm certainly not a sports person and using sports analogies, and I'll probably botch it, but what is it? The greatest shot missed is the one never taken, or however it goes.
Good for you. Look at you, man. We're
right?
working pretty good.
I'm getting there. But, I think what was the worst that could have happened, right? The worst that could have happened is he would have said no.
So, yeah, I mean, for all of everybody out there, male, female, whatever, when you unpack the stories of CEOs who have reached a level of acceptance, the one constant I think you can point to, and I want you to speak to this, is the work. Nothing happens without the work. And so regardless of what your obstacles are, and I want you to speak to this, you got to outwork people.
You do. To your point, right? I think that obviously there are certain obstacles that women will face that men will not. I think there are certain obstacles that that we'll all face, right? But at the end of the day, it's the work, right? Sometimes you just have to work harder than everyone else in the room, and sometimes that's the only answer, right? It is not about how smart you are or who you know or where your degree is from. It's just you're the one who's willing to work the hardest. You're the one who's willing to make the sacrifice. And to me, those are the people who will succeed. I will always hire for heart and hustle over a degree, over a pedigree, always.
Love that. So we talk about nuggets, noodle nuggets. That is a nugget. You will hire heart, and I think most people think brain, and brain is one-dimensional, heart is multidimensional.
It is, and look, I don't have to, first of all, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? Like, let's be honest. But I don't have to be the smartest person in the room. And especially now with all of the tools that we have at our fingertips, right? Like all of the things and all of, AI and all of this. But what I have to do is be willing to put in the work, put in the time, do it. And to me, when you do that, success follows.
So this comes up in almost every conversation, work-life balance. I have an idea how you can answer this, but I want people to get your take, which is so unique, on work-life balance.
Like, is that a thing? Is that actually a thing? So this is one I'm certainly still working on. I am certainly still working on. I am, I don't sleep well ever. So am I known to, send emails at 2-3 o'clock in the morning when I am awake? I sure am. But I do try, I really make a concerted effort to try and make time. I'm a firm believer in self-care, right? So I do yoga, I meditate, I get, a massage every other week. I really do try and make time for those things. But if you figure out how the work-life balance thing is really supposed to go, let me know, because I'd love to know how that.
So you went there, and I'm glad you did. You take care of you. Mm-hmm. I'm fascinated because I always talk about the people that are around you are an indication of where your success. Sure. So you've made it a deliberate point to have different coaches. Yes. Coaching is first of all, you got to want to be coached. Mm-hmm. You got to be open to coaching. You, more than anybody I know, have bought off on that mentality, and you've put a team of people together that all have a very specific role. If you're okay with it, share it, because this is what success looks like.
Oh, it takes a village, people. I mean, it really does. I have a tribe, right? So I have a tribe. So I'm fortunate enough to work with you. I have another executive coach. I have a therapist. I am starting with a life coach in a couple of weeks. I am part of YPO. I am part of Chief. I have a personal yoga instructor who comes to my home. I have a massage therapist who comes to my home. I think that is it. I think that's it.
I
mean,
soon we're going to get a coach. We're going to get a chef for sure.
Right. I mean, we could try that, but all kidding aside, I do think it takes a village. And I'm of the mindset of, don't think that one person can do everything, right? Bring in the specialist and let them be exceptional in their area, right? So for me to expect that my yoga instructor can also be my executive coach would be foolish of me. Could she be?
But people do that.
Of course. I'm sure she could give me wonderful advice. But again, to me, it's bring in the specialist and let them be exceptional in their area.
I love that. And it mirrors sports, even though that's not your passion. Yeah. But the best of the best have a team of people who basically look for blind spots. Right. And when you explained it to us, when our first call with Shay, go, let me just explain. This, and the first reaction I had was, really? And then the more I've gotten to know you, you have an expectation of every single person, and they fill a need that you run with. So fabulous, fabulous. I'm glad Michael DeCespedes is here, because I really wanted to go down this road about females managing successful men. And Michael is very successful in his own right. This comes up often. A big part of my base is female CEOs. And there is that tendency that men can't handle a stronger woman. So I'm so thrilled to have you here to talk about it, because it's a difficulty. It is a thing unless you address it.
Yeah. So again, to the point that I made earlier, it's unfortunate that we still have to caveat a female manager, a male manager, right?
True. Yes.
Right. But it is true nonetheless. And it's funny because Michael can probably attest to this. I don't manage anyone differently. I really don't. I manage with the expectation of accountability and delivery and success. And so for me, those are the things that are important, right? Regardless of who I'm managing. And I said it earlier, right? I have to let certain things roll off my back, right? I have to know that it may be difficult for me to manage successful men, but at the end of the day, if we're all on the same team, we all have to be driving and rowing in the same direction and going in the same place. And that's really, for me, the biggest importance there, right?
And to continue to grow at the pace that your company is growing. And I invite everyone who's watching or listening to this to check out Site Impact. I mean, they are doing some incredible things. So there's some clarity. What is it that that Site Impact does?
Site Impact is a white labeled email marketing platform. So we give resellers the opportunity to go to market with white label technology. So you can sell through to your clients as if you have an email marketing platform that you can bundle in with your current offerings.
Incredible. And you are constantly changing the technology, because, I mean, day in and day out, that has to be a challenge.
We're constantly looking to, to automate, to optimize our workflows, to do all of those things. So again, expectations from our clients get that much higher, right? Everyone's looking for faster, right? Everything needs to be faster. Everything needs to be immediate. We went from, 10 years ago having a 48-hour turnaround on things to, we can get something out the door in less than a minute, right? And even then, half the time that's probably too long for some of our clients, for some of our longstanding clients. But
no kidding. I didn't even realize that. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Cool. Final question. What, if anything at all, are you involved in to help grow women leadership, either internally or externally? I know you belong to that group, Chief.
I do.
I was familiar with who they are. So, the fact that you belong there, just speak to, how do you as an individual, as someone who has gotten to the top, how do you foster that in the community?
So I think that it's really important that we do that, right? I think that, again, we should always be paying it forward in regards to anyone, but I think especially women helping women, right? I think, again, the obstacles that women face are different. So yes, Chief is a wonderful organization. It's female executives. It's a place that allows you to have some of the conversations that, again, you don't even think you should necessarily have to have, right? But they exist, right? So you're speaking with other women who face some of the same challenges you do, and how do they overcome them? One of the things I do appreciate about Chief specifically is they've now, they're kind of now opening it up to a broader female audience, and not necessarily just at the C-suite. You're seeing director level come in, and you're seeing some of that. So again, it is kind of that women who are kind of on the upward trajectory of their career. One of the things specifically that you and I have been talking about is getting more involved there, right? Is how do I tell my story, my come up story, so to speak, and have that be a tool to other young women who, really are, I don't know if it's lost or trying to find their way, and how do they create that path for themselves?
I think lost is a good way. I mean, there's so much clutter, there's so much information that unless you attach yourself, in my view, to someone who's already done it, the rest of it is bullshit. There's just so many people throwing stuff at you. Do this, pay this, and do whatever. Where do you find your information? How do you digest it? How do you have a continued growth?
Yeah. And I think that's really important. I think something, it's because, again, like, I didn't come up through a traditional path, right? There was nothing traditional about the way I got to where I am other than working hard. That's right. That was the kind of the theme, or kind of the string that ties it all together. It was just working hard. But I think that, again, there were decisions, there were choices that were made throughout the last 20 or so years that got me here, right? So I think being able to share that with young women, I think, is important, because I think we have this idea of fundamentally, how you get from A to B, and it doesn't always have to be that path.
I'm so happy that you joined us. Correct me if I'm wrong. This was your first podcast?
Second.
Okay.
But it was the one where we said last year, when I said, fine, I'll do it by the end of the year, because we all know how much this is not my favorite thing to do.
We do.
So
you did great. You were an absolutely, like I know you, genuine, authentic, real deal. I tell Helen all the time that I laugh more with you than I do with any other client. It's just great.
We can't take ourselves so seriously, right?
I'm so happy that you are in our lives. Thank you. Please reach out to Jen. She is all over LinkedIn, as we would make her. She's got great stories. She's got great insight. Reach out to her. Thank you for spending your time with us. I will see you next week. And for everyone here, have an amazing weekend. We will see you live Monday morning from the PGA International. Mark and I are speaking at a conference there. We'll go live with their CEO, Scott Smith. So lots of great content. Michael DeCespedes, thanks. Michael Ficara, thanks. Melissa Graves, great content. Helen Fields was here, man. You go, my girl. So we're going to do it, Helen. I promise you we're going to dinner. I promise you.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
You got it, guys. You all be great. Let's get down to some business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down.